Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another mod stream. We are here to work on a little something called Project Hydra. And it won't be called Project Hydra for very long, however. I do have another name in the works, as the project has long since departed its original focus, shall we say. Before we begin today's mod stream in earnest, I will plug some content on the other channel. I interviewed CSGO mapmaker extraordinaire Oskmos. He's got Insertion 2, and Library under his belt, so you may have played on some of those maps if you played CSGO custom content. His maps were in the operation and so on and so forth. He just released Insertion 2. We talk about his process and all that shit. And then aside from that, I also have a map analysis VOD with Pullman, who's another mapper who's got a map into CSGO before, so you can check this out as well over on the other channel. And that is it. That's the end of my plug. That's the end of my nonsense. What's up, Cosby? Cosby? Caw? Welcome. Oh, I have to sign in to restream chat, of course. It's kind of dumb that it makes me do this every time. Which, of course, means then I have to go and use my two-factor authentication. And slows my whole shit down. That's the wrong one. That's also the wrong one. Here we go. All right. Okay. We are done. So since the last stream, I did do a little bit of work on HYDRA's stuff. I didn't get a massive amount of work done on the level, but I documented some more bugs that need to be resolved, and I was able to do some of the visual things that needed to be done. I shrunk the captaincy down in size so that it doesn't overlap with units as much. Big shout out to DF for helping me find the automated process for that one. And then I was also able to put together the proper graphics for the ramp, basically fixing up my masking and stuff. So it turns out I had actually already done that, but just hadn't compiled the graphics and put them into the tile set. So I did that, and now we have the proper ramps here instead of those artifacts. There is one little bit of an extra piece, which is there's a block here on this tile specifically, part of the extension tile, that I will probably need to manually fix later on. But it shouldn't be a massive ordeal. Should be pretty easy to slot in, and slap in. There you go. Slap and slot combined to slop. Should be pretty easy to handle that without too much incident. I also took care of the larval colony, so it shouldn't be as busted, essentially, on a visual side of things. And what else? I think that was the bulk of the work that I did. I did just also try to slap together innervating matrices as a heal. Now, the kind of tricky aspect of testing this, of course, is that the Azazel, it cleanses all active debuffs on activation. So if, for example, you had Irradiate... Oh, Irradiate doesn't work right now, I guess. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. All right, well, if, for example, you had... what's an ability I can use? I guess just Plague, right? Plague is the classic. Now, if, for example, I Plague somebody, like, they're not going to take any damage, right? If I Plague and then Dematrix, it does cleanse. So that makes it kind of hard to do that properly. So, to properly test that. It also seems to be... It's supposed to be 30 seconds, but as you can see here, it's definitely not. So let me see if I can fix that. But yeah, in theory, I've now made it so that it's a deliberate heal. Well, it uses the unit heal thing. Yeah, so that would make sense. Okay, so now I just need to figure out, like, actual defensive matrix. I guess that would be, like, weapon spell hit or something. So I basically just have to take all cases of defensive matrix timer and go to find all references. I need to find all write references. We remove the timer. We move that. But we don't have a function that actually sets it somehow. Okay, so that must have been what the to-do thing was. So an update unit state, it's supposed to be like to-do reduce defensive matrix timer. Okay, so I will have to add that to the bug list. Okay. As long as we have that in the bag there, should be in a pretty solid position. Let's do make matrices. Let's do both. I guess the way to test this in theory would be to take a wounded unit that has like malice on them or something. Like, so we would do Zazel spawn Hierophant spawn, like, I don't know, Phalanx. U energy 200. U health 50. So in theory, U HP 120. Yep, okay. It does, it looks like it does cleanse the buffs, which is nice. Okay, cool. So that should be fine. I guess the other question is whether or not the HP is correct, because it looks like it's 200 HP, but yeah, it's supposed to be 200 HP, okay. 30 seconds is a long time, to be honest. I don't know if that makes as much sense, but we'll see. All right, so we fixed a bunch of those things. I guess what I can do now is based on that, I can ship another pre-patch with this in mind, and then we can get into some more AI work and level design and all that stuff, so. Make enervating matrices, heal, restore on full heal. My day's going pretty well so far. I've gotten quite a bit of work done on some stuff. Sort of before I started streaming, I was already working on this stuff. So this is what my to-do list looks like for today. This stuff is all... Oh, I can remove this now. This Apostle Lazarus Agent thing is just a reminder. I guess I can move that down here. Test AI transports is what I'm going to do next, and then we're going to work on these AI changes. And after that, we should be able to test some of this stuff and see what we got. So, looking forward to doing that. And as far as the stuff down here goes, like the only graphical thing I need to do now would be to port the Desert Bridge to Ashworld. That's something that I can probably do a little bit later, but yeah. For now, I think we're looking pretty solid. All right. We are getting straight back into it. I noticed we don't really have any island expansions anymore in a lot of these maps. I do have to wonder why that is. I think maybe subconsciously I might be a bit worried about the whole some of the issues that I've seen. Oh, you know what? Let me turn this into a 3v3 on this map. But yeah, the fact that the AI are seemingly incapable of taking some of that stuff is kind of annoying. Oh, I guess I should, instead of doing... just set the player slot to neutral or something. All right, let's leave this running for a moment, and then while that's happening, I can go over some of the Protoss AI stuff. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, notably no expansions on the islands just yet. This is interesting. $1 million hatcheries. Hi, don't mind me. AI are very dumb. They don't seem to be too interested in assisting each other. Oh, never mind. Brown came to play. Why does this happen? It's so goofy. So this is unironically where you would actually want a front line with some Zoryustaleths if you're in that position, because it gives you the opportunity to close the distance a lot quicker once that Zoryustaleth hits below 50% HP. I think maybe there is a bit of a problem right now conceptually with that unit's behavior, because of the fact that I don't think the debuff doesn't fall off, or the enhancement doesn't fall off as soon as the Zoryustaleth is dead. The enhancement hits there and it's a timer. So that's probably something that needs to be changed. I guess what would happen is that it would constantly write the timer to like 5 frames or something. I don't know. That would probably be a bit of a overcomplicated way to do it. I think it would be a Boolean type thing if I had my way about it. So notably, this guy doesn't have anything that can deal with air. Oh, he does. There's some Zoryustaleth. See? This guy knows what's up. This guy knows what's going on. We'll speed things up a little bit more. I want to keep peering through here. Oh, we do have a couple of build prefs, but it's really minor stuff here. And it's only for the first build, so I think it's probably just something something a bit goofy on my part. Yeah, basically if we say IP, what's it? I want to see like where they're getting the requests for their towns and stuff. That red has not gotten a request to go for one of these farther away bases is kind of telling to me. And then I guess teal only just now got that base over there, so... Teal actually is kind of lackluster in terms of everything. He's floating a ton of money, so that's probably an issue with the build order or something. He's getting that base. Alright. We'll hold off judgment here. This is a pretty nasty fucking army. It's gonna get decollided down this ramp because for some reason Veek decided that the superior method over here was to have a one width one. Maybe we didn't have the extension tiles. I don't think so though. Yeah, this force will probably wipe that out. Notably, this Zerg player has like taken the brunt of a lot of the early damage and then hasn't actually been stopped. So even though they've done nothing, even though this build is clearly bugged, what even is this? Player 5, right? 4. They've got 20 creep colony requests. They've got 1 million resources. Even though they're completely bugged, they've only done Zerglings. It's pretty goofy. I wonder if it's possible for us to display the deaths of Disruption Field and Dark Swarm for these players. That would allow me to see what they randomly selected. But anyway, we are about to watch the pain train commence. Looks like there was a massive battle over here. Are you still at corpses, I see? I should make some custom corpses, actually, for some more of these graphics. This is a massacre. This guy seems to be similarly bugged as Orange was. He's expanding a lot, but he's not really building anything, and he just happens to be stuck on Hydras, which are a little bit more general purpose. There we go. It's mind-controlled Lakizalisk. Got shredded eventually. Mind Tyrant. Dude, all the Lakizalisks in the fucking universe have gathered here today. Still no island expansions. It's not really definitive proof, though, is it? Basically, I would know if they were bugged still. If I saw a request here, but the drone or Droleth or whatever was just sat there doing nothing. But I guess the other component to this is that there is no... there are no Trojans for these guys, for example. I don't see any transports at all for the Terrans. And then if we look through here... I mean, there's starports, but no transports. So... yeah, White is eating more bases, more workers. I don't think we see any envoys either for the Protoss, so... that's a bit odd. We have double forge, but no envoy. Maybe witnesses? It's hard to know. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the there are some issues holding back some of these build orders. And once I fix those, it'll be all bets will be off. Like this white guy basically is like, look at all of his fucking hatcheries, dude. He's on one. He's feeling pretty good about himself. And even he could be, I guess he's at tier 3 tech right now. Like he is ascending up the tech. I really like the white team colored build frames. That looks really good, actually. It's really nice. For Zerg. Yeah, there are some witnesses, but no envoys. So yeah, white's an example of like a build that wound up being fucking nice. You can tell he's like basically the hard carry of this team right now. We still have no tech progression for this Zerg player, which is pretty hilarious. Brown was tech progressing. He's already up to tier 3, but I don't see him slapping any production structures down anywhere, or really anything. He's got an army. He is moving around. He's got a lot of bases, but he doesn't appear to be doing much with his armada. He's trying to expand again. He must have his money low. No, he does not have his money low. He's just not... oh, there it is. He just remembered he wanted to expand. Okay. Fine. Fair enough. Not much gas for the Protoss player. I'm just checking these expansions again, just in case. Yeah, red's just been wiped, so understandable he wouldn't have anything, really. And Consummate should be downloadable. Let's see if you're right. I have my own playthrough of it, obviously, so... Don't download it here. Oh, it's right here. So it says. I'll move it into the main root folder and delete the 2017 folder. That should be fine. So I guess what you mean is that for some reason the... where is it? It would be in here. This also works. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Every link I've just tried works fine. Owned. They're trying their hardest to withstand the deathless fucking army of white who has now taken the middle of the map. I'll just speed this up some more. I wonder if there's not a map that has 100%. I wonder if there isn't a map somewhere that has like a lot more islands somewhere. I can't really think of any maps that have those. Yeah, I agree with whatever you just said, man. Come on, dude. I don't know what that means. Yeah, they're probably... You might need a VPN or something. Mega is a weird company. A weird website. All right, let's check back in. Almac answer. Yeah, these guys hit Alazal Arbor. I mean, say what you want about them, but they are teching up. They have some high tier units. They're doing stuff. Like, these guys seem to know what's going on. Nice fucking hatchery counts. Again, I think at this point the larva safeguard should definitely have kicked in, but for some reason it hasn't. Was that there? So if you have at least 7 larvae... Oh, local. So this should be bring. That's why. So it should be bring. And I don't know what the syntax is for bringing off the top of my head. So at least 7 larvae. Let me just get rid of that. And then there. Okay, that should fix that issue then. In theory, they'll conserve their money a bit more. I know. They need more mind tyrants. That's funny. What has happened over here? These guys are holding on for dear fucking life with their multi-kill capital ships. and frigates or gun corvettes, I guess. I don't even know what these would be. I guess they'll just be cruisers of some sort. I guess maybe I should revise the Sunchaser missiles a bit. I think maybe if they deal... They don't have any AoE anymore, I guess. So this could be normal and their main cannon could be AoE. And that might be a bit more sane. But I don't know. I'll think about that. Throw that into my list of things to think about. AoE main gun, normal missiles, question mark. Hello, man. I will now attempt to say your name. Hold on. Detect language. Oh, it's just Alexi. Alexi. Hello, Alexi. Welcome. They're holding on for dear life. It's not really working. Yeah, and let's see. Do we have any interest in additional expansions? Doesn't seem like it. Well, there might be, actually, but... Oh, here we go. So, where's the worker that's assigned here? Yep, okay. So... Yeah, almost Stukov. Say goodnight, Stukov. Okay, well, I can take that off the test. Should be good there. I'm kind of surprised that this map hasn't ended yet. In fact, there's a bit of a comeback on the way because Protoss have gas now. They still don't have too many production structures. I guess they have a ton in their main. This is another one of those weird cases where if we look at like there's a bunch of buildings that are assigned to this guy, but they were built over here. I don't ever know why. It's like for some reason sometimes like they fail to actually build structures. Maybe there's CCMU or something at play in some of these cases. I honestly couldn't tell you why. It's like, but it's a pretty consistent thing here. And then obviously this guy's still like busted with his tech progression, so we'll have to handle that later. It looks like this guy is a bit too. Like he's got a bunch of they kind of all have the same issue. It looks like where they don't really build too many things. This guy double built science facility, but no. Like unlike Blue, who's barely done anything despite having all the tech in the world, has he's had his entire main wiped and taken by his ally. He's just had everything stolen from him. So no, it's there's no thought process put into it. The AI is just bugged. What I think might be happening is that in the expansions, let's see, if I go to EXP Rand Town, yeah. What is this? Okay. I think this might help. Basically, I think what happens is, for some reason, the AI are incapable of building another structure. Like, or somehow there's some bug that happens when they build a structure without having the town hall there first or something. That's my best guess. I am kind of guessing blindly. But like I noticed that it doesn't happen with Zerg, and they don't have building requests besides the town hall until after the town hall is done, right? Which I think is like an interesting notation there. So first thing we'll do is slap this in here. Yeah, it looks like I did the same thing to Terrans, though, so I guess maybe the issue with them is something unrelated. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, that should fix some things. So I guess we'll go ahead and give that a shot. Okay. The other thing I'm kind of concerned about, or something that I would like to do anyway, is obviously in the build orders for Terrans, I recently went through and actually timed everything out. I don't know if I've done that for everything else. It looks like maybe I did for the Aquifer here and some of the similar stuff, but let's see. No, maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to know, like, intuitively where I left off. Anyway, that Protoss issue might be resolved now. I guess I can do a very quick and dirty, not really pay attention test. See if that's been resolved. I'll just fast forward for a little while and see what I see. There's only one Protoss player in that whole map, so it's kind of a small sample size, but that has been something I've noticed that specifically Protoss do quite a bit. All right, here we've got a Protoss. Here we've got another Protoss that hasn't expanded yet. All right, just speed up some more. Okay. I don't know why cut worker is set to 0 here again. That seems like an oversight on my side. Heal. I'm glad there's a random text that says heal. All right, now we seem to be seeing some structures, a pylon. It's a bit more understandable if this kind of thing bugs out in this way when we're dealing with stuff like this, where they're on the same height level. But even in those cases where I would actually expect it to happen to some extent, I'm actually seeing it happen less, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know what this bugged heal thing is. Let me see if I can find it. It's clearly some ages old debug message. I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't kill that base so that I could see. But yeah, it looks like that fixed the problem, actually. Again, cursory glance and sample size of 1 so far. Looks like this base is out. And then... oh, maybe not. Let's see. They barely held on. I don't know if they'll rebuild it, though. But, you know, they've put some structures over here. That's fine. Zerg here. Oh, shit! Imagine getting hallucinated. It looks like that won't actually matter, but that would be pretty funny. I wonder where they're going. I was thinking recently about how I would go about resolving some balance issues with air units, and I think it might make sense to make it so that they have small collision boxes, like pretty small, so that they could still kind of stack, but not to the same extent that they could normally. Oh, that was almost a money shot. Almost an epic Cantavis. Yeah, you do not have enough Hierophants, bro. In fact, you have 0 Hierophants, unfortunately. Let's check in on the Protoss here. They're fending off a fucking horde of Zerglings and Vorvelings. Meanwhile, more Nathracors. Dude, the Zerg are fucking pogging so far. Meanwhile, this orange Protoss seems to be doing his due diligence as well. What does a Terran Shaman do? It heals. It repairs organic and mechanical allies within a certain radius, a small radius around itself, at a rate of 2 HP per tick. So it's not massive, but it's still pretty powerful, especially en masse. It's pretty reliable, and because it does both types at the same time now, there's a recent change. Obviously, that means we're sitting pretty in that respect. So it's definitely something that you want to keep your eye out on. Dude, we got some fucking Acantors, bro. We got some Robomen. Also, hi, James, and welcome. I know Veek doesn't like this map. He made it. He's not a massive fan of it, but it's really satisfying to watch maps like this that are massive in size. And then you have like massive forces from the AI and stuff. It's quite satisfying for me anyway to see stuff like that come into fruition. So this is for... Yeah, it looks like... Oh, he's just got no... He's got minus 1,500 money, apparently. Okay, there we go. He cleared his queues. Yeah, so it looks like he's actually starving for resources right now, but when I just saw him try to put a pylon down. So that does seem to have fixed the issue, actually. That's pretty interesting. Zorius the Left's owning, eating up those corpses. I don't know what that means. Net at the Queen of the Zerg. I guess you're talking about the Matroleth, aka formerly known as Queen. But I don't know what net means. Oops. Oh yeah, did I find this heal message? Search that. Yes, corpses stay for quite a lot longer in HYDRA. There we go. That's what it was. Found it. The reason for that is not just that it gives you like a lot of interesting visuals and like really cool visuals in that sense. It's also because it gives you the opportunity to actually see gameplay information. So you get to see based on like, oh, there are these corpses here. So if you're playing a free-for-all or something, then you know like, oh, there was just a battle here. And you can tell which units were involved, right? Right now, there are some overlap where I've reused the corpses of some units because I haven't bothered to make all of the corpses for the custom placeholder assets and stuff. And then there's a bunch of units that don't leave behind corpses yet, which is like any robotic unit or whatever that I still have to put together corpses for. Like I put together a scribe corpse, but unfortunately, the formerly known as the probe, this unit here, the Protoss worker, the scribe corpse exists, but it's not spectacular quality-wise, and it has team color on it, which unfortunately gets kind of fucked up. So, but yeah, one of the things that I really enjoy about watching these battles unfold is also just like the gory aftermath that is left behind, and the visual storytelling you get from that, the way that the gameplay shapes up in that respect. So I think that's pretty neat. So here we've got another case where this guy has built the pylons, but it doesn't look like... He doesn't have any other structures assigned here. He does have a gateway request and a forge request, but it looks like maybe they're not the highest in priority. He's actually getting a couple of other requests as we speak here. But it looks like even though he's got the money for them, they are not as high priority as some of the other stuff that he's got over here, which is stuff like automaton register, like tech structures. In that case, the tech structures are supposed to be a higher priority, actually. The question is just whether or not, like, maybe does that make as much sense in that sense? I would wager it probably does, actually. Oh yeah, I've already removed ensnare. Instead, it's it's a different ability now, basically. Oof, Danger zones, homie. I like how this one phalanx is blocking everything. Ramp sizes. Oof. Yeah, I've made it so that it's an AoE ability that that enchants the nearby allies and allows them to specifically gain the ability to apply such behaviors, such slowing behaviors. Ooh, Zerg here. I do like green snot, though. That's a very good description. What is our tech at? Holy fucking shit! Jesus Christ! What the fuck? You got enough larval colonies, bro. Jesus. I know why that's happening too. That's a CCMU issue. Ramp. What's up, Jocks? Even though a lot of these units are using shitty placeholder graphics, it is still kind of satisfying to see like battles where most of the units are new. Like it's gratifying as the mod maker myself. What's up, Mutas Dozen? Larval colonies generate larvae at a slower speed than hatcheries, but they take up less space and they obviously cost less. So the idea behind larval colonies, it's a morph of the creep colony, is you're spending a couple more drones, or now called droleths. You're spending more workers to create more production, but you're spending less overall resources, less overall time, and less overall build space. So it's kind of a give and take. It can slow you down in the early game, but usually it's good to get at least one of them. What does chrome Zerg mean? You just talk about the white Zerg? That's just a default color. N with a machine gun and his dog. I still have to add a muzzle flash to the dog. Oof, This is a pretty thematic attack force, to be honest. Big fan. Oh! Cohorts. Oof. And then the fucking Cantavis got legionnaires, instantaneous death. TBH. As you can see, the scribe corpse does look a bit weird. It's probably something that I need a little bit of extra depth to, like a slight shading or whatever, projection of a shadow or something. If I want to keep it that detailed, anyway. Oh, I don't even know which force had that Cantavis. I guess it was red, but it hurt him more than anything with that storm. Hi. Everything okay over there? There you go. It was just saving up storm, I guess. Well, they've driven him back. Great. I'm very glad that this is a thing. All right. So yeah, anyway, the reason why they've built so many of these is because they actually don't have at least 7 larvae globally because of CCMU. So they just keep building them. They're like, oh, I don't have enough larvae. That's unfortunate. I don't think that's really something I can realistically code around though, because I can't like detect how close you are to CCMU or whatever. If I could do that, I would be like, oh, if there's less than 100 units left in the array, stop building production structures because you probably have enough. But even then, that would be kind of that would probably still be a little fucked up in terms of like edge cases, but it would probably be better than nothing. I think all of these workers are sat here trying to like build additional shit, but they can't because of CCMU. So owned, larded as usual. Oh shit, we're burning our own workers, guys. Fuck. Maybe that'll encourage them to stop being idiots. Oh. Brown's at it again with some apostle somewhere. Oh fuck. I changed the names of a ton of units. Basically, if the unit name was stupid, I changed it. So even things down as boring as like Marine got changed to Maverick. And the idea is that it gives you a bit more it still has some sort the goal of the name changes was to maintain some sort of thematic identity for the unit, but make it less about literally telling you what the unit does. So for the case of Marine, obviously it is literally a Marine, it's like a soldier. Just stand there and die, I guess. It's literally a soldier, but Maverick is like, oh, is like a hard ass type unit, you know? And so you kind of get a little bit of thematic elements assigned to the unit. And that ends up being just superior in general. Like Maverick is a case where I feel pretty strong about that. I feel like pretty happy with how that has gone through. I thought that worked out pretty well. So, you know, you kind of expound that across. The Zerg names are changed to just be like incomprehensible, basically. Like, obviously, this is a new unit, but Zoryustaleth is a fucking mouthful. But it gives you that idea that, like, oh, like I'm not even supposed to understand what the fuck these people, what these creatures are. And that was kind of the thematic that I was going for there. So first, more conventional things like I took Overlord and renamed it to Ovaleth, where you kind of keep that OV part, but Leth is a suffix for like a specialty or core unit. So you kind of get that consistency to the names. Whereas like if something is melee, it would be like Nathracore, or Ultralisk was renamed to Ultracore. So you get the Ultra part still, but you get the Rocore suffix, which gives you the idea that it's a melee unit. There's another unit called the Gorgracore, which is a new unit, but it also is a melee unit. So you get this consistency where you start to build like, oh, okay, this is like, this suffix means this thing. So we still have Zerglings. Those are not called Zergracores. They are, because those are kind of spammable. So my idea was that if it's like a very spammable unit, which Nathracore actually could in theory be, but I decided to keep it to be a Nathracore, even though it is a bit of a spammable unit. If it's a spammable unit, then it fulfills the idea of being Ling. And then if it's a ranged unit, then it's Lisk, which is like Hydralisk. If it's very long range, it's Thalor, so there's Cascathalor, and the Guardian was renamed to Gizithalor. So, again, the consistency is really key here. The idea is that you get these unpronounceable, like, unknowable names, ideally, for Zerg. And then, but the suffix will still tell you something about what the unit is all about. So... yeah, a little bit, yeah. It wasn't necessarily a strict, what would you call it? I wasn't necessarily like super inspired specifically by H.P. Lovecraft, but I did want to tap into that unknowable aspect, basically. So that was an ideal element. If possible, I would like to have added that. So yeah, that was a component of it for sure. Oh, owned. They just can't kill this hatchery. Oh, there you go. The Maverick finished it off. For Protoss, I mostly just went for stuff that was like a little bit more regal, and ideally not super related to something that was like specific to human history, because like Praetor is a literal Roman rank. So I didn't really want that to be the name of a unit or a rank or whatever. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more general than that, a little bit more like tapping into that element of fantasy, but not necessarily at the cost of, like, why would an alien race name themselves after a ancient medieval history Terran thing? So I kind of wanted to stray away from that. So that's where you get things like, Amaranth, which is coincidentally the name of a flower. But the reason why I came up with Amaranth, oh, holy shit, dude, that's a lot of hallucinations about to happen. The reason why I came up with Amaranth was we've got you basically have the idea of the word means immortal or unending. And so it was like a more clever way to say something than just naming a unit immortal. And because the unit regenerates its own shields when it attacks, it gives you that kind of hint at what the unit is all about. And then you have units like Idol and Golem, where it's like, oh, there's an element of idolatry. It hints at religiosity and maybe a forbidden nature of some things. You get like a name like Pariah, which literally means like somebody who's an outcast socially or whatever, or an untouchable and undesirable. And that's like a very powerful profane unit. And then there's a bunch of units that are named after like basically butchered Latin stuck together. So like Lan Effect is like I kind of describe a lot of these in the actual origin field. So like for Lan Effect, it used to be called Corsair. Lan Effect is an engineer of disruption. It's just two words stuck together in Latin, one of them being architect or engineer or something like that, and then another one being chaos and disruption and stuff. So I kind of just picked things that sound pretty cool, but then if you actually dig to their roots, that makes sense. Yeah. The main motivation was just to the main motivation was to put a lot of this stuff together and unify the thematics a bit more. What's up, Jozor? I don't know if what you mean by Aatrox port. I've got graphics from about 10 different RTS games in this shit because I don't have access to men who can model. But it looks like the Protoss are driving this one home. All right. I think we're done there. Let me throw in this plugin change since I forgot to get rid of the debug message earlier. So this is remove debug. Yeah, we've got graphics from Outlive, Aatrox. I guess I should throw that into the acknowledgements, to be honest, just to keep track of this shit a bit more. All right, that is the main page. Yeah, it's a shit program. If you're ever trying to push 100 megabyte plus files, just crashes all the time. Bye. That's my experience anyway. So I really wish I didn't have to deal with GitHub Desktop because it's pretty terrible. But we tried Get Ahead and we tried Source Tree, and neither of those were serviceable for our needs. I think that's a general problem, though, because pretty much no Git client expects you to be pushing massive files. Oh well. So I know we have Aatrox, Armageddon for the Crimson Glory. And then I know there's Impact of Power, Outlive, 5 Nations. This isn't in here yet, but I'll throw Blockchain in there because I'm using some of their shit. And then what? We've got... Oh, Atomic Punk, of course. Will I ever release a story document like Blizzard included with the original game? I guess you're talking about the manual? I mean, I could, but I generally prefer to have the game sort of allow players to explore the setting, and then I need to know all of the stuff. Like, as a writer, I need to know, here's the motivation for all of the factions. Here's the history of all the factions as it pertains to building evidence for, I guess, or supporting arguments for the motivation that they provide or that they have. So I need to know all that stuff, but the player doesn't really need to know. I just need to know so that when I write something, it has the backing and legitimacy of concerted thought. But by no means do I need to like exposit all that information to the player. In fact, that would be generally really bad. It's actually better for the player to sort of be thrown into the deep end in some respects, have some grounding elements, but other than those, essentially have to sort of come to their own conclusions about why things are the way that they are. That's infinitely more interesting. And when you make the player do a little bit of work to understand your setting, you are going to be much more interested and much more invested as a player in that sort of environment. Which is actually why like most RTS games fail immediately because they give you this text prologue. They basically just inundate the player with a bunch of reading, which totally disinterests me at least, and I would imagine a lot of other players, because if there's something very important that I need to know, I should probably just experience that. Or I should be informed of that and exposited that, to use a dirty word, in a very carefully thought out and constructed manner. So you need to be able to say like, oh, based on X, Y, Z, this, that, and the other thing, like, oh, I can kind of infer based on the way that these characters talk to each other, they have a history, or the way that these two factions, the representatives of which talk to each other, then maybe the factions have history. Maybe it's less of a personal thing and more of a, like, maybe the call ends after two factions talk to each other, and then they, like, I hate those guys, or whatever. Like, that's very on the nose, but that would be like one example where the dialogue is doing the exposition for you, and you can kind of couple that with character development and world building and make it a little bit less generic and boring. And then the player has to kind of put the pieces together. They have to be somewhat paying attention. And as a result of that, you generally have more investment, because the precise issue with a lot of media these days is that they essentially just baby the audience very heavily. Whereas I think a lot of players, especially of a niche genre like an RTS, they have some sort of expectation that they have to do some work. And at least they're open to the idea that they have to do some work. Even if they're very cynical like me and they think that every game is going to be bad and dumb and not going to make them do any work at all. And actually trust, like, the most work you have to do is figure out what the developer intended for you to do and then do that thing. So, yeah. I think I got caught reading the manual back in science class. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, basically the Orion Imperium is one of those, it's a highly organized faction, but it's not like a generic bad guy like the Dominion, or before the Dominion, the Confederacy. They have the elements of depth to them in Hydra's cases, where they basically provide you with a couple of different opportunities to like see where there could be obvious depth. One of the real satisfactory aspects of building the world, the Hydra rewrite, so to speak, is I'll go find the article. One of the, I'm assuming you're talking about the Orion Imperium anyway, one of the factions in the Terran section of this campaign rewrite. One of the really exciting things for me was you get the opportunity to basically say, like, based on the characterization of faction X and faction Y, if they're in the same area, you can automatically come up with some way or some sort of premise based on the fact that just those factions are involved where there would be conflict, and it would be believable conflict. It wouldn't be like, oh, the author clearly just wanted, you to fight Terrans or Protoss or whatever in this section. It's like, oh no, I can actually see where like these factions have their own goals and motivations, and as long as you buy into the goals and motivations and feel that they are realistic, then there's no risk of breaking that suspension of disbelief when the factions actually go at odds with each other. So if I tell you that two Protoss warbands are fighting each other, at first you might be like, well, that's weird, because aren't the Protoss supposed to be like unified? But then if I tell you that one of them is the Calendric Knights and the other one is the Divine Primacy, if you're familiar with those factions, you'd be like, oh, well, I can already imagine that maybe the reason why is the Divine Primacy was sat here trying to conserve some element of maybe some Terran life or some other Protoss life, and the Calendric Knights just came in and said, fuck these guys, they're heretics, burn them all. And like, again, if you're familiar with the factions, you can kind of come up with your own reasons as to why there might be some conflict there, and it is believable, assuming you're coming at it from that perspective. Now, I'm always going to be somewhat biased, just by virtue of me, well, maybe bias is the wrong word, but I'm always going to have more information than the average bloke, because I'm the one who sat here like writing this stuff, and I made these guys. So I know what they're all about, and I know what their characterization is like, what their characteristics are. But I don't think it's that difficult for like the average person to read these facts and then imagine like, okay, if I had to work backwards from a premise of, faction A versus faction B, then what would be, like, I could probably come up with a premise off the top of my head based on all of these factions and then say like, okay, yeah, that's good. Like, that works. So. And as far as reading the manual in science class, I did show the StarCraft manual, or no, maybe it was the strategy guide. I don't remember. I showed some list of units to my physics teacher in freshman year high school, which was pretty funny. And she was like, "Oh, why have they named it this? Like, why is this the cybernetics core? Like, these guys don't even know what they're talking about." Like, she was pretty she was unimpressed by the loose sci-fi. I guess it was more fiction than science. I think is what she was trying to tell me. Which, yeah, fair enough. It's probably true. All right, what else do we got here? Yes, that's the one. Oh, no, I didn't use Gundam Century. I used, like, Star Wars Open Rebellion or something? Yeah. Or I haven't used that yet, but I will later. Priorities survive, baby. What a game. What else we got in here? Final Odyssey, of course. And then Vital Device was the other one. There's got to be more, but for now, this might be enough. Oh, Armageddon Onslaught is another one. And then I don't remember. I don't think I still have any Tiberian Sun stuff, so yeah. There we go. There we go. Oh, and I guess I should just globally credit start@.net. Is Planescape Torment a 3D game? I don't remember. There's probably a ton of various sources of like fantasy graphics and stuff. I was looking into using like Diablo 2 graphics and whatnot for Zerg. The problem is most of them don't have team color, so it's not really feasible. Oops. That's not what I meant to click on. Okay. So, we've done the credits. I guess I could also do I did say I was going to do this anyway, so. Whoa, don't do that. Just make sure that that works. Nope, it did not work. Why didn't it work? Who's the noob here? Oh, it's because I didn't wrap this. There we go. What an oopsie. There we go. Okay. What's the goal now? Well, I'm not charging money for my mod, so I don't think there would be any grounds to cease and desist or whatever. It's not like an obscure Brood War mod is going to be a replacement for anything. Which is what they have to argue for. They want to combat fair use and shit. I guess they could also just assume, like... oh, wait. I still have to do this. They could just decide to threaten me with court, I guess. That is always a possibility. I haven't heard about Halogen. I know about that Russian Halo Online port, the Dorito thing or whatever it was called. I don't know enough about it to remember what it was called, but it was like the only way to what's up, Ultralisks? How you doing, dude? Yeah, could you imagine if like in order to gain access to playtesting, you'd have to donate me on OnlyFans? But yeah, that Halo thing I was referencing is the only way that you could play Halo on PC. Well, a modern Halo experience on PC at the time. Because this was before the Master Chief Collection. All right. So I guess before I do anything else, I should find A's. This is 342. And what was it? librs. Okay. So let's go through this now. For this, I will need unit stat open. Stop it. Okay. I will need... I really wish there was some way for me to easily simulate these kinds of scripts. I keep having to like remind myself to just immediately write shit down because otherwise I will almost always forget it. Juggling a ton of stuff as per usual. All right, so I think this map is like in a pretty solid position in general, but obviously we do want to actually play from the position of the Zerg at some point. Before I do that, I do want to do some more testing with the AI. And I should probably just audit some of these builds. So say audit builds. And then I think besides that, like one of the main concerns is whether or not these are even set up correctly. So one of the things that I noticed when I was first in here is that obviously the cut workers stuff was like, it was just weird. It was done in a very strange way. I think like maybe something like this. And uh, 24, 150. So obviously it's supposed to wait for the robotics facility to finish before it requests the facility. I have to rename that structure too. Yeah, so this is supposed to last, so we have to wait 1200 for the robotics facility to finish. Right now, this only waits 150. Yeah, it only waits half of that before it requests the automaton register. So obviously what should happen is that these should be swapped, and makes a lot more sense now. It's actually waiting for the appropriate amount of time. This is well, it's listed as the Forge Fast expand, but obviously that doesn't really mean anything anymore. Maybe I came up with like a alternative for this, but it doesn't look like it. So this is supposed to be general. Yeah, Forge Fast Expand. Now, obviously, the idea behind a Forge Fast Expand originally is that the Forge was the requirement for the photon cannon. That's no longer the case. You don't even need it, so it doesn't really make any sense. I guess this could be called like Robo Fast Expand instead. So we could call this Robo FE. And then Call this gen robo fe. But this does mean that obviously we have to jump back up here. And then when it prints it out, this should be robo fe. Okay, it's probably fine. I don't know what Nexus FE means. I assume... Yeah, what the fuck does this mean? This doesn't even seem to make any sense. I guess it's the idea is that you get the Nexus before anything else. Where's the expansion? Right here. So these are going for fast Dracodons. So this wouldn't be NFE. This would be Strider FE. So we've got... We don't need the Cenotaph early. Let's see what else we got here. $37.5. Weight of 900 for a gateway to finish. So this is fine, actually. I don't know about the Aquifer first, but that's probably okay. And then instant queue the Dracodons. Then we'll wait 150 here. Maybe actually wait 300? Yeah, it's probably better. So then we obviously delay the Cenotaph a little bit, but that's okay. This is actually set up to wait correctly. So it looks like I actually did touch on this build a little bit, but it must have been a while ago because I didn't catch the Cenotaph, which is hasn't been the requirement for a Dracodon in like, feels like a year now. Okay. So this is changed over as well. We'll change this from NFE to Strider FE. Then again. Now, 2-gate robo sounds pretty similar, or pretty simple, rather. Let's check to see if this makes any sense. Yeah, this is a 900 weight for the gateway. There should be plenty of time for the gas to get up there for the robo facility. Obviously, the automaton register doesn't make any sense here. So now we've got 300. We need 900 more before the automaton register kicks in. So this is 300. This is 600. And then wait 300. Oh, I guess we could just do wait 600 and then wait 150. Let's do 660 and 300. Okay. So that should be better. Nice. Now there's plenty of time for the Principality and for the gas for it, so... Interesting that we go straight into Stargate after this. We actually go for 2 Stargates before the expansion, which I actually wonder... I mean, I made this build pretty recently, but I wonder if this isn't a mistake. Like, I think I actually would prefer to go for something like this. And expand off the back of the 2-gate Legionnaire opener. I think that would make a lot more sense. Imagine writing Discovery, Fagudo. That's my kind of humor. I think I'll throw in a slightly longer delay between some of these other requests. Yeah, let's do that. All right, that should be fine. I feel like I'm missing something here. How have we... So 3 is... Oh, I'm in Ranger, that's why. Strider, FE, 2-gate Robo. Sure. So obviously for Lunatic Legion, then, we should have a preference for... let me use this as an example here. Because I obviously never finished this stuff, but this is like the easiest one to do, so... Build pref... Skirmisher Standard Legionnaire. Build pref Ranger Standard Ecclesiast. Pref... Oh, no. Gateway makes sense. And pref prod Skylord is Skylord Stargate. Pref Stargate Standard. Yeah, there we go. Build pref Stargate Standard Aurora. I guess heavy would be Exemplar. I don't know if they have real forms of crowd control, though, so maybe Gladius would make more sense as like a way to round out this composition. I don't know. Pref Stargate Heavy. We'll do Exemplar for now. And then... What else do we have? Pref. Like... Okay. So I guess there should be Pref Forge support. Argosy Heavy, Argosy Standard. Maybe we'll call this Pref Martyr Dark. And then Martyr Light. It's a little bit more freeform there. Okay, I like that a lot better. Another idea just came to me. I have to quickly edit that into this list. Yeah, control units created from abilities fail to inherit AI to initialize AI when parent is dead. There you go. Okay. Now, I don't know if I actually need to do anything else here. I would say maybe do like pref, martyr, dark would be. Oh, that's another thing I have to do. Oh, it is called build pref, martyr, dark. Oh, I probably just renamed it. That's why. Yeah, here we go. That was convenient, actually. Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. Don't see any other potential issues, really. Oh, it's Gateway. Gateway. What a dummy. Okay. Build pref, gateway, ranger. Solid. Wait, what is this? What the fuck? Oh. It's robotics prod. That's also... let's do authority. That clearly is not meant to be distinct like that, so fix that. Question is, I guess, rex call pref robotics facility standard 0 build pref robotics facility. Jesus. What a disaster. Okay. So this one is obviously REX call pref gateway ranger standard 0 build pref gateway ranger standard 15. So this is another case where I don't really know why I did it this way. Pref prod Templar gateway. There we go. Consistency truly is king. Okay. Pretty basic stuff, to be honest. Oh, I should actually throw this in here as well. Just for a little bit of extra hilarity. All right. Prod ranger, no prod ranger. Actually, for this comp, golems would probably be pretty banging. As well as amaranths. Hmm. All right, I think this should help us out just a bit here. Our general builds will be a little bit more robust. Why don't we move on to some of the other ones that we have here? This Ranger 2-gate Goon one is obviously going to be a bit interesting. Oh, I guess actually I would rather that they just don't prefer anything like that. All right, let's take a look at the build itself. So we've got 300. So we queue a Zealot. Yeah, okay, that's appropriate actually. Let's just do a weight of 150 here instead. Just make sure that that actually happens. $300. Wait, 300. Yeah, actually, that should be fine. Why are we getting a Cenotaph here? Or a Forge? Forge is kind of late. I would just do this. Okay. Yeah, that was mostly fine. Move on a little bit. Let's do a quick system check, homies. There was some sort of EXP weight, I think it is. These are the breakpoints. Oh, here we are. So in this case, I think what I want to do here is create a quick block that will prefer higher tier things in a general sense. Yeah, okay. I think I know what I need to do here. I don't think I need to fuck with unit preferences whatsoever. I think I just need to screw around with the production preferences. So I don't really know what the medium would be. I think actually after 3, like if you have 3 mining bases, then you're probably fine to just go straight to high, and then otherwise you call low. But I don't know. Maybe we do var m call mining count to pref cycle high 15, and then so you have to surpass 4 mining bases to call high, and otherwise you have to you would call low if you're below 2. I think this should probably wait for like a pretty long amount of time. There should probably be like 15 minutes before anything like this gets called. Or maybe 10, which is just an extra 0 here. It's kind of a tough arbitrary cutoff point to decide. Because this will only take an effect if there are no user set preferences. But that would mean that build set preferences that are supposed to go, like the build orders that are just supposed to get more of an argosy than something else, would obviously have no, like this would just overwrite that. So again, maybe we just wait for the first 10 and see how that shapes up. And if I still feel like the builds that are supposed to be getting, say, like a higher tier production structure or whatever aren't, then that's something that I can look into a bit more later on. But we'll say build pref. We'll say reset pref. And then we'll do basically just all these. Okay. So in this case, we would do var ex call pref prod ranger 0. This is Templar, and this is Skylord. And this would be reset pref prod Templar. Or it would be Ranger facility. Templar gateway. Stargate. And then this is authority, and library, Argosy. All right, this system should be fine. So let's go ahead and call pref cycle init from some other block. I guess it would be all the way up top here. There's some pref reset. Call this death reset. And then I guess multi cycle init. Pref prod. What is it called here? It's called something stupid, I guess. Okay, that's fixed. Pref prod raider, pref prod armor, and then oh yeah, armor would be one up, wouldn't it? And then pref prod orbital. Reset pref prod armor add-on, and I guess it would be add-on armor, not prod armor. I guess the add-ons don't really matter actually, so that's fine. Pref prod armor factory. This is iron foundry, and then this is reset pref prod orbital starport. Nanite assembly. This is... Okay. Don't think there's anything wrong now. Okay. Zerg doesn't even really need this to the same extent, I don't think. Yeah. I don't really think there's any reason for Zerg to have it. They don't have the same issue. Their tech stuff is more based around... I guess I could do it, and it would be like based around morphing the units, actually. It would be preferences for leveling the units up specifically. So yeah, I will do that. All right. So here we've got to come up with some sort of system here. So this is... what do we got for Zerg anyway? So we would say... Oh, part of this is difficult because I have to come up with a way to... I basically have to decide what a superior thing would look like. Like, I guess Nathracores would be superior to Zerglings, so it would be like pref... Hold on. Swarm standard. Reset pref prod. Swarm Zergling. And then the other version of this would be reset pref prod swarm Nathracor. And then pref assault standard. So assault heavy would be, I guess, Lakizalisk over Bactalisk. It's tough for Zerg because they're specialized. It's not necessarily like one is objectively better than the other. Like if you're up against a, I guess Bactalisk would be more more general purpose because they can attack air units. So maybe I just don't touch that one. Whereas Hydralisks are less combat effective, I guess. But that's kind of specific. So I don't know if like Nathracores are better than Zerglings, but they're significantly more expensive. Quasilisks, on the other hand, I don't know if they're significantly better than Hydras. I think maybe that's one that I actually don't implement. Because, again, you might want more Hydras just so you can morph into more other things from the Hydra line. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't actually know what would be better. I guess maybe Convalisks would be better than Matroliths almost always. So if it's like var ex call pref matral, well, what would be the pref air special? 0 reset pref prod air special Matrolith. And then this would be Convalisk. And then and Swarm Heavy is either Ultracore, Cascathal, or Alcagalisk. I guess Alcagalisk would be best out of that. Well, I don't know. Cascathalors are kind of broken right now, so maybe they would be ones to look for. Okay, HLS, move speed, stats, revision. Okay, now the record. I am finding it very difficult to say that like convolusks would always be better though. I guess they'd always be better for AI, but Echistocores would be pretty nice. Yeah, I don't think I can, in good conscience, actually implement that one in particular. I think Nathrocores makes sense. It's just the rest don't. Like nothing else really makes sense as like an objective step up. I don't think. Everything else has like the drawbacks, potential drawbacks, or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. And the other problem with this method too is that like if you don't have if the build doesn't ever call for a Nathrok Lake, then you might never get here. Or this might never actually be useful, I guess, is the idea. I guess what we could do as like a safeguard against this is like no towns, Nathrok Lake, blank return. And no towns spawning pool, blank return. Maybe we could even do that for this stuff. We could do like... No, we wouldn't want to. So this is just a weird one, but whatever. We'll keep it in for now. All right. Let's throw this in. A couple other things that came to mind that I'd like to rein in before I continue working on the AI specifically, which are... I want to adjust the... Alcagelisk. Stats. Let's go into weapons. Flingy and sprites. The Zoriustaleth sprite could probably be at like a lower vertical position. I'll try that. And then I can close this for now. Let me do some... I'll just move these to my desktop. Sort through those later. Let's see. I wanted to take a look at my Flingy. Cagelisk. Let's compare this to something like the Wyvern, maybe? Turn radius is fine. All right. What I'll do is I'll add this stuff together and we'll just fuck around with it in the test map and see what we think. Would be nice if this graphic had actually had its frames aligned. Unfortunately, that's just too much to ask. It looks like they're only very slightly faster than Gazithalor's, which is a bit funny. Wonder if maybe the selection circle can be slightly smaller for the Zarisleth, whether that will help or not. Let's try that. Yeah, it feels a bit better. Like, they obviously deal pretty good damage, so... It's not AoE, but it's something. I guess I could give these guys, like, a bounce attack or something like that. I never did make a bouncing weapon thing for Mutalisks. In fact, I never... let's see. I wonder if I ever modified the bounce stats, actually. Okay. Okay. It does just bounce to 2 additional targets. I should quickly slap together a Rods Club site. HYDRA data abilities Zerg. Wait. What is the syntax of this? Yeah, it is. It's right here. Zerg Burrow. Oh, it's a different... okay. And then there's one other thing that I just changed to, which was creep generator. Just want to organize those abilities that are more general. And then I can... Target bounce. Okay. And then I guess... Oh, actually, I should have gotten a different weapon, I think. Okay, let's do Mutalisk. Where is the Mutalisk here? And then... Gazithalor 345. Okay. All right. Okay, I think... yeah, I don't think there's really anything else here, so let me just add this. Imagine having upgrades in your game. The fuck? I guess we'll do 9 and then 8 and then Megalisk. This will be 8 and this will be 9. Yeah. It's a bit of a headache, but... All right, once this is done, I can, or while that's building actually, I can go into the config. Remove that. It's already a normal default. Oh yeah, and then in API CPP. No, I think any API, it should be fine, but in building morph, it's going to need to be updated for the equivalence. Gezith roost. It's already there. Get rid of that. Yeah, as a result, that's fine then. Just quickly build that out. What else have I done here anyway? I think should be everything. So in the Zerg side of things, I of course have to remove that. Spire. Just have to adjust a bunch of stuff now because obviously this used to be completely different now. Needle Spire. Should be fine. Okay. I think we've got everything that would be an issue on the AI side. Minimize that again. Save this and add in the latest files. And I think we're good. We've written in Okay. All right. So we've done all that. We've done the AI changes. We updated the Okajalisk. At some point, I would like to revise the Centaur a little bit, again, as I mentioned earlier during one of the tests. Let me quickly launch to make sure that everything works as intended. Looks like you build Gezathrust fine. Oh, one thing that I didn't fix was if you select the Gorgrok apiary, it will have this grayed out icon, so I have to remove that. And then the Gorger core itself is right here. I've got to update this. I've got to update those strings, and then there was this. Okay, that's broken. That means in unit morph, I have to make a quick fix. And then I have to check the tooltip as well for their ability. Just documenting the fact that they have a bounce attack. It's mostly for clarity and consistency. The other thing I will do real quick is, do I still have stat.txt open? Doesn't look like it. Close that for now. Close that for now. Let's do Ravening Mandible. This isn't even really an ability. I can just remove this. And then can remove this tooltip as well. And then when attacking specialists, reduce energy equal to damage dealt. I don't know if that makes grammatical sense, but whatever. Oh yeah. Did I even remove that in for the exemplar? I don't remember. Yeah, okay, I did. I guess the only issue here is I don't know. I don't think I can force a display of splash damage onto the Gorger core, which is kind of frustrating because obviously it's supposed to deal splash, so it's kind of frustrating. But whatever. It does deal splash. It's just that it's done in a gimmicked way because it's a melee attack, and on a code-based level, none of that is very easily done, unfortunately. All right, we've done that. Yeah, that's it. Should be all we need here. Add percentage. Move Gazith Allure, Gazith Roost back to Mutalisk, Mutal Spire. Add. Just don't need to document this one really. Okay. All right, well, this didn't end up being very map making heavy, but I was still able to get a lot of work done on the AI and stuff. So we'll continue to update the AI builds over time. It was a bit of a drier stream than normal, but such is life when you're trying to deal with a very complicated AI engine that I've had to write myself because what is AI? So yeah, I suspect that we will see some general improvements once I'm able to flesh out the tech progression and stuff. I have to audit the Zerg builds, most notably. I think most of the Terran ones seem okay. There's some confusion there. And yeah, we will be back. I'm not actually sure when. Looks like Friday I'll be back with another one. So see you in 2 days. Till then, take care. Big smooch, mwah, mwah, and bye.